Hello, friends. It's the Cinemondo podcast with those two and me. And
Us and him.
yeah, film director. I know I've asked you this before. Film director named Francis Ford Coppola.
A legend.
Yeah, one of the greatest directors in cinematic history,
One of the best ever born.
I mean, really, we don't have to talk about
artist.
An absolute artist, and he's now 85 years old, and he's wanted to make this film since I think they said the late 70s.
Yeah,
so, and they even started thinking about producing this like in 1983. So this has been, in his his back drawer for like 50 years.
Yeah,
and he sold his winery to bankroll this film, which is a $120 million film. So it's a big budget, especially for one guy. It's not a studio. Go ahead, Kath.
I'm surprised he couldn't get a studio to finance this. He's Francis Ford Coppola, unless
I wonder if he wanted it.
He just wanted full control, I guess.
Yeah,
I think
like John Carpenter kind of situation.
How many studios would really try and control Francis Ford Coppola? I mean, probably a lot.
Maybe if we obviously haven't seen this film, but what we're hearing is that it is his vision, like it or not.
It's an experimental film, basically.
Some people like it, and some people not. So
welcome to the movies.
But he got this incredible cast. I mean, it's just, I couldn't even tell you that it goes on and on forever. It's the name, everybody's in it. And he wanted to make the movie he wanted to make. And that's his sort of swan song. Is he going to make another film at 85? I mean, this might have been it for him. And he's like, I want to put everything I want to say about whatever into this movie.
Yeah. There's those kind of filmmakers who have always had that reputation for being, like Stanley Kubrick and, David Lynch. They can make films the way they want to make them. And you get the impression that there wasn't a lot of studio interference or interference from other, creative types in the concept meetings that were like, okay, hear me out. That guy. There was a David Lynch movie is a David Lynch movie, and the same with Francis Ford Coppola. But sometimes the creative power comes from the feeling of not having any interference or not having to, because if he's got investors, then he's beholden to he has to make money for the investors. So, but if he invests only his own money, then he doesn't have to worry about, I hope I make
how
money
the movie does
for these people who gave me a bunch of money,
Yeah.
And also if he's not under a studio, then he doesn't have to worry about anybody going, does it have to be, and making little tweaks to his art that he's been thinking about for 50 years,
Yeah, but I still feel like, I'm naive in thinking someone like Francis Ford Coppola would have the control regardless. He doesn't have to listen to the idiot in the room saying, what you really need to do. Maybe they do. Maybe he does.
He's still going to have to make money for somebody. If he's got people giving him money to make his film, he still needs to provide them with, income.
Yeah, but how many movies have tons of studio interference and bomb? Hundreds. So it's like, you're really gonna give notes to Francis Ford Coppola? Yeah,
but he probably got notes. I think about the last movie I saw of his. There was the movies that were The Outsiders and Rumblefish, and then Peggy Sue Got Married. Things like that. Right. And then so they were sort of more. It wasn't Apocalypse Now or The Godfather or The Conversation. They were different kind of films.
Yeah.
So I think it was 30, 40 years later, he goes, I just want to make this myself. I have this winery that I don't want to own anymore. I can, and I'll still have enough money to live the rest of my life. And Sofia Coppola's fine. It's so
and actors, if he calls them, he probably doesn't even have to pay him a ton of money, and they'll say yes, because who would say no to Francis Ford Coppola? Even if he's like, I'll pay you for a day, and they're like, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list, and of course, Adam Driver is sort of the main character. But Dustin Hoffman, Jon Voight, Aubrey Plaza, Giancarlo Esposito, Shia LaBeouf, Zendaya, Talia Shire.
I don't know if you should put Shia LaBeouf in there like he's sometimes.
I know, but Jason Schwartzman, I think, Kate Blanchett. It goes on and on and on. So it is insane.
Talia Shire, of course, worked with him in the Godfather movies. So there's some history there in a few of these people.
Jessica Lange, Oscar Isaac, Michelle Pfeiffer, Laurence Fishburne, Jude Law.
Laurence Fishburne was in Apocalypse Now.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right. So Anyway. So let's take a Megalopolis. It just previewed at premiered at Cannes a few nights ago, and let's check out this new trailer so we get a little bit more of what the film is about.
Let's check it out.
American Zoetrope. That's cool to see that.
I know. I love that logo.
I love that
it's
logo.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it.
I want that on a t-shirt.
We should get that t-shirt. It's so good. He's got to have a store. Let's find out.
Yeah. Does he have an online store? Okay, everybody quiet on the set. Quiet.
Shut up.
Quiet. Everybody quiet. Okay.
When does an empire die? Does it collapse in one terrible moment? No. But there comes a time when its people no longer believe in it.
Don't let the now destroy the forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, welcome.
Is this society, is this way we're living, the only one that's available to us?
We are taking our city back.
And when we ask these questions, when there's a dialogue about them, that basically is a utopia.
Wow. Look at that list. Okay, so that last shot with the big eye, stunning.
Yeah.
So the thing about this trailer, I feel like it was too much too fast. Like there was some beautiful, like you could catch a glimpse of some gorgeous like scenes, some gorgeous cinematography, like insane. But it moves so fast. And what's with the kind of Caligula Ben Hur?
I know it's got a Caligula vibe, doesn't it?
What the hell?
I also get a sense of Fellini's Roma in there, like some of the later Fellini films where it was a bit indulgent, which sometimes there's a moment in a filmmaker's progress where they just have these images that they want to see on film, I think. And Fellini, I think, did that. There's some, I love some Fellini films, and some of the other ones seem a little bit self-indulgent with the imagery. But then again, as I got older, I realized what they were. And I realized this is like a painting that's living on my screen.
Yeah.
And then I started to fall in love with those kind of movies. It's like a visionary type of film. I don't know if there's a huge amount of story or narrative to Megalopolis, but there's so much imagery just in the trailer.
It's about creating. I mean, the word create is right in there. And I think that's what gets me excited about it. Here's a true artist putting stuff out there. And if people are looking for a conventional story and a conventional what happens or where the characters go, that's probably not the point. The point might be a general theme of creation, of creating things. And I think maybe one of the reasons you didn't want to make this movie or get the studio is like that hampers creativity. You have non-creative people telling you what to do. He goes, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to use my own money. I'm going to make what I want. Either you like it or you don't. And I think that, and I applaud that. I think we don't have enough of that.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's a people say vision of his idea, of his artistic idea. And I haven't seen the film, but even if it's like grossly self-indulgent visually and has no coherent narrative, it's still the vision of an artist that I have huge amounts of respect for. And
I think the basic, I mean, I don't know the storyline. I mean, it's kind of, I'm trying not to read anything about it because I don't really want to know, but I mean, I'm kind of getting from this trailer because the other teaser that we saw just had Adam Driver going on a rooftop and he's able to stop time or something. That's what it seemed like. So he seems like kind of an Elon Musk type, like he's sort of a genius, and that seems like there's some attacks on the world and there's just bombing. And now this, like, what would society be like if this was life now? So would we revert back to some like primitive, things like, competitions like chariot races, because there's probably you probably can't use any engines anymore or something. I don't know. It's because you're thinking about these are destroyed cities, like, so everybody kind of starts like going into this like, more primitive lifestyle in a weird way, and then getting very flamboyant and distractionary and just I don't know. And then it's got a little touch of sci-fi in there, like I don't know what, but it feels like and what he said, we can build a better society. It's almost like society's been destroyed. Let's do it again, but make it better.
Yeah, I think that's what I got out of it. And maybe like, that Adam Driver's character might be sort of, an avatar for Coppola, who's late in life. He would love to stop time at age 85.
Wouldn't we all?
Maybe wouldn't we want to create our world a little bit different? Let's break, it's breaking down, but let's do a new creation. Maybe that's what this movie is. His Megalopolis is what he would expect life to be or want life to be. So who knows? But that's right in a 1 or 2 minute trailer. You start talking about it. And that doesn't happen a lot in movie trailers. We know what you're going to get. Here we don't know. And even if people have said, hey, it's really kind of hard to watch, you might be trying to find a different type of movie in this movie.
Well, yeah, it's like saying I can't watch a David Lynch movie because it doesn't make sense. It's like I hear people saying, it's just too weird. I'm like, well,
don't like David Lynch movies.
Right.
Yeah. It's like saying I don't like ice cream. It's just too cold. It's like, well, that's what ice cream is.
Well, I think sometimes when someone's doing something really radical with their art, including filmmakers, they're not received well at first. Like there's a lot of like great filmmakers who, when their movies came out, bombed, and then later people go, "It's a masterpiece." It's like it happens all.
Citizen Kane didn't get great reviews.
Right.
Wizard of Oz didn't get great reviews. I mean,
you never know. Like it might be one of those that just has to be a little time has to be kind to it. Like when we first see it, we're so used to movies of our time. Like there's a lot of apocalyptic stuff out right now. Wonder why. A lot of like virtual reality stuff happening right now. A lot of shows and streaming, all the stuff about virtual reality. It's like, so are we being informed for this film because we're used to that formula right now, that later down the road, we're going to be like, oh, this film is so ahead of its time. It's addressing these concerns and these kind of things. And maybe people just don't want to see cities being bombed and destroyed. It might just be that surreal coping mechanism that Megalopolis is trying to show us that will happen. I don't know, but I was trying to figure out the statues moving, like kind of coming to life, was that sort of his vision of like, I want to go back to the Roman days. And this is what, it's looking like in my dream world of the city being destroyed and being filled with statues that are like collapsing or something. I don't know.
It seemed like the visual symbol of the actual architecture being sad about what's happening. Cause they seemed like they were falling and like,
but there was lamenting, a statue in the middle of the street.
But I'm just seeing this from the trailer. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
They could be giant robots or something for all I know.
It felt like to me like the statues were sad about something.
What's happening in society and culture and civilization.
I just, again, we're talking about, I just want more of movies like this. Give me more,
challenging films. Give me a movie that dares me to like it.
And that's
like,
the
feels
thing.
like it's smarter than me.
I always have to say this.
Go ahead.
I always have to say the thing about people that complain about movies that they're all the same. It's like, oh, they're all superhero Marvel films, blah, blah. And they complain. These are the people who also look at a film like this and say, that's too weird. It's like, remember the film Mother?
There's no superheroes.
Yes. Mother was very divisive. Yes.
It's very divisive, but it is a brand new thing you've never seen before. It was somebody taking a chance with film, and it wasn't a franchise. It wasn't a sequel. It was not a superhero movie. It was a personal vision of a creative artist, and people
compelling.
And people complain that there's not enough of that. But then when one shows up, they complain about that.
Exactly. So, if this is what the inside of Coppola's brain looks like, I want to see it. It's like,
I want to see what it is.
Look, I mean, to me, I'm looking at the trailer. It feels kind of disjointed. Some of the visuals, like the Ben-Hur stuff, the Roma stuff, feels a little contrived. I don't understand it, but that's from the trailer, and I don't know, like, will it somehow work in a kind of weird surreal way when we see the film? Because the thing is, I love David Lynch, so I feel like I'm sort of ready for art house type spectacle. I mean, I love the new Twin Peaks. A lot of people are like, "What the hell with that show?" I'm like, I know that one episode is basically one big like static screen, basically just like whirling.
I'm right there for that.
I love that pure, like, I'm doing it my way, and you can like it or not like it. And I would rather, I would rather like possibly not like this film than be guaranteed it's gonna be great. Like I like that he took a chance. I like that he's doing crazy. Maybe I won't like it, but I admire that he wanted to do it.
It'll be interesting.
Maybe it won't appeal to me, but at least it's like you said, it's take a look inside Francis Ford Coppola's head, and I have so much respect for him as a creative artist that, you know, maybe if I don't like it, I'm going to assume it went over my head.
Or, but you know, if you're going to you're watching it, whether you go, okay, I'm not liking this for whatever reason, or I'm liking this movie, and then you might go, I might actually love this movie, and this might be one of my favorite movies ever. You know, it can turn into that, has the possibility, or it'll just be a failed attempt.
With some films like this, you may dislike it the first time you see it, and then years later you go back to it and you're like, okay, 10 years later this film is so resonant now. I grew into it.
Right. And it seemed like a movie that we really need to see on the big screen, because I feel like it's one of those that needs to be a huge visual with IMAX, loud music and sound. Like, I think if people just see this on their TV or streaming, it could fall flat. But I think this is one of those that really get out to the theater and see it.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's a visionary, a master filmmaker. He wants you to see this in the theater in IMAX. He spent his own money to do it. The least we can do is spend in $20 and go to the theater and watch it.
Support this movie, regardless of the reviews, because I feel like be challenged. Go ahead.
I think my artistic life has been so inspired by him in the past and his work. It's like your favorite album of music. You go back and you listen to it over and over. I can sit down and watch Godfather 1 and 2. You know, Apocalypse Now. If I want to go there, I can watch that one. Rumblefish and the other movies you're naming. It's like there's so many movies that he has made that I go back to because it's so lyrical. It's like
watch The Conversation. It is a
conversation,
mesmerizing, sort of like almost hypnotic film.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's Coppola. So check it out.
Yeah.
Does Megalopolis mean something? Maybe I'm done about that.
It's like it reminds me of the David Cronenberg film a while back called Cosmopolis, and it's like a and it's like Metropolis. It's a
mega
metropolis, but a giant metropolis, which is a megalopolis.
Sometimes
it's a hard one to say.
Well, sometimes like the Boston to Washington is like, you know, a lot of big cities, and that could become someday a megalopolis.
Because they combine the cities.
Combine like 5 big cities, you know, something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. So he probably wants to just like, we need to bring all the cities together in one big spot. Okay, that makes sense.
LA and Pasadena, right?
Really looking forward to this, regardless of what reviews, what people say. I'm freaking seeing it, and I want to like it or dislike it on my own terms. That's how
exactly.
Yes.
All right.
Take care. Megalopolis forever. Bye.